hello from all parts of the world, right? What you need here, however, is that link. There you are. So you can open that. I see that some people have already opened it. That's this anonymous bat and anonymous kraken and so on. I see that. If a link doesn't work, you can always spell it out. That's the purpose of Bitly. And let's go. Well, what we do is we review whatever new things happened. And what is special about what I do is I try it all. Yeah, I know. I take the lesson from Jeff Dean. Jeff Dean, he says whatever new software comes out, he downloads and tries it. Well, if Jeff Dean does it, we should definitely do so. Jeff Dean has lots of famous jokes about him. He counted to eternity twice, and other things like Jeff Dean jokes. We'll select the favorite ones, okay? Consolidated list of Jeff Dean jokes, okay? Okay, so I'm giving you that link just for fun. And if you have never seen them, then definitely you will laugh. Jeff Dean got promoted to level 11 on the system where the max was 10. And of course, that is, of course, true. And so on. You can read it. It's all up to you, but that's not why you are here. So I'm closing that. What we do is try everything. That's the reason I brought in Jeff Dean. Okay. And I'm not crazy in the sense that it's not March 14. I know it's March 7, but I already started preparing for the next session. That's why it's here. Usually I listen to you guys, and whatever you suggest, that's what I put here, or whatever comes my way, that's what I put here. But today I started realizing that I will not be able to cover everything. I started more than that. Okay. That is a promise, but what we're doing today is, oh, numbers are broken. Doesn't matter. What we will talk about first, whatever happened, what's interesting in the news, then we'll look at new course. As you all know, and everybody who comes here asks, what should they learn? Which courses? The answer is, first of all, that's the list. So if you click here, you will see about 80 different courses. Here they are. And 88 is, well, it gets a number according to my repository, but it's event-driven document workflows, which I will be showing you today. That right here, is the link to the course itself. So if I click there, okay, and that's what you will see.
Welcome to event-driven.
But then to the right, there will be a link of that same in my repository. And well, it's an open thing. What I'm doing is going through all of them. That's the secret of what I'm doing and trying, and things usually don't quite work. When you see the course already recorded, it's a nice show. But when you try to run it, it's not exactly that. And that's what I'm doing. But what I can promise to you is that I tried more or less every one of these courses and more or less successfully completed that. Okay, what I can also promise is they are all new and original. That's the amazing thing. It's not the praise of me, it's the praise of the composers of these courses. It says who composed these courses, why, that's the story of education. And as Andrew Ng says that if you don't like thinking, if you want not to use your brain, that maybe it's not a good idea. Because a good idea is just the opposite. Keep learning. He said the famous quote that if you ask him 10 years ago, what about should I learn coding? He would say, no, don't. It's too many details. But if you ask him now, he will say absolutely yes, everybody. So I tried it. I tried it even recently when I was teaching executives, sales executives. I have a course now AI for sales executives. And you have to tread like on thin ice. And I think that there I have too many of those tabs open. But on thin ice, because they asked me right away, Mark, do you mean that you're going to teach us coding? And I say, no, 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 God forbid that I would do this. But by the way, I would like you to do coding. So that is life today. And part of what is going on is that AI is just going crazy. And when I say going crazy, well, it's been going crazy since March 23, but it started going crazy in the educational department. So I get to teach AI courses, and before people were not asking to be taught, and now completely. So what happens, and I'm telling you my personal experience, what happens is that the purchasing departments do not have enough time to go through all of the approvals. So I send them the outline, and they don't have the time to say, well, that's a new outline, and it doesn't look like the old one, and I will want the old one. But the old one is completely useless, because who needs machine learning? Let's be honest. We're all here, and we understand machine learning is passé. Let's put it this way, because AI does it all. It knows it all. It knows all machine learning, and so there is no big point doing that. Well, it's so inconvenient not to have the camera, but what can you do? Okay, so that's what's going on in education. I teach new stuff, the real stuff. Most of it comes from right here, from the learning pad, and no time to approve it. Some educational departments even say, we have a policy against using AI. They don't know that their engineers, they all use AI. Perfect. So that's what I teach. All right, the news today. First of all, there is a new model called Mercury Code out of a startup. It's best used for writing the code, but what's special about it is that it's diffusion model. So diffusion model works differently from our regular, what was it, transformers, right? And that works 10 times faster than the regular transformers. Okay, the code is right here. Then I will be showing you a agentic system from Llama Index. That's what I will show you. So let's skip that for now. ChatGPT 4.5 is a new thing. They announced it last week. This week, you can go and find out what it is about. And it is 10 times more expensive than other models, but it shows up here. So if we go to ChatGPT, okay, verify that I am in the work account, and look at which models. Well, 4.5 shows here. That's the new thing, and it is good for writing and exploring ideas. Well, I took it at that suggestion. I immediately did it. What I'm doing is I'm writing a new book, AI security book. So I asked it this question: how would you recommend writing it? Do you want to hold on to the master copy, and essentially, do you want to do all the work? No, it said, no, I will not do all the work, because it will be much better if you hold to the master copy. So I will have the master copy then, and it will help me work on every individual chapter. What it doesn't know as yet is that I'm going to ask it to fill out the proposal, because amazing thing, what happens in my life is that proposals are just best done by AI, and much better than my proposal. They have such great chance of being accepted. That's what I'm going to do with that book. I will keep you posted on that, and we are going through the 4.5. And I also mentioned my AI security book. So the amazing thing, I am indeed writing AI security course. That's how it came to the book. So I'm writing this course and asking everybody, guys, what should I do? I mean, you are experts in security. I am lucky to know some great experts, and they all confirm that there is no security framework. If you go to Amazon, right, Amazon as guardrails. There are guardrails, and that's a good idea. Security should be left to professionals in security. But those guardrails, and I can tell you even which lab they're in, they are just kind of not very inventive, not very wide, not very far reaching. Besides, hackers are taking the applications built on top of AI, not really attacking AI, and you can be as a happy killer, can be as inventive as you want to attack applications. All right, so that's the story of what's latest. Now I want to show you the event-driven document workflow. And for that, I will simply open the slides. By the way, if you want to talk, you're very welcome. Just ask me. So I'll bring up the chat and on the chat. So I will say whoever wants their mic enabled, just ask. And robots don't know how to ask politely, and that is more or less safe. Okay, the course. Right here, let's start. So, oh, black and white. Okay, and that's what happens when you generate those slides on the Linux, but it's still readable. Okay, so what we're going to do is to investigate a little bit more into what is this agentic that everybody's talking. Agentic. Okay, so what does it mean? Well, that means that we are going to have multiple threads. First of all, that's to respond to the word agentic. Multiple threads that will run some kind of AI. And what kind of AI? It depends upon what you ask it to do. So there will be, for example, let's say you're building, well, in that example, they're going to build a resume composer. But the examples that I've seen were building, they were building customer support agent. So multi-thread customer support engine done by Amazon, and it would there would be one expert thread that's talking to the customer, another expert thread that going to the facts FAQ index and intelligently asking what it can answer from that. Yet another one who would imitate the higher up, and that's how you usually build those agentics. But in the Amazon lab, it was built on threads that were really running inside of Amazon. And in my experience, I could never successfully complete that because it just wouldn't work. Now that is better one, and by now maybe Amazon also works, but that one abuses local model. Okay, let's start. What we're going to do is to have an input document that's clear, agentic workflow. So there will be multiple agents that will figure out what is to be done and what is the question. Then they will go into the knowledge database. So you can call it different names. You can call it RAG, that stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, or you can call it a semantic database. That's my preferred term because it answers to your meaning of your question, not to the keywords on your question. By the way, I am still bothered by this black. If I show it to here, it is black. I know where I can see it not black. Here it will look normal. There you are, right? much better looking. Okay. So that's what we will be building. And I was saying this is RAG, what stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. But in essence, by now it's a very common model where you take all your data, stick it into the database by meaning and not by keywords. Then when a question comes like this input document, and I'm going to talk to it, I process it and put it into this database. And then every time I get a question, I first ask the RAG knowledge database to give me relevant pieces of information, relevant paragraphs out of the document, and then give the answer. The answer I give, of course, with the help of an LLM, with the help of AI, and that's how it goes. Let's see, I see a little comment. Okay, yes, it is a great way to show that GitHub actually works better than my script that generates slides. I use a Mac. On the Mac it would work, but on the Linux it makes slides black. Okay, but let's say another example for that same reg generation, but a more practical. Let's say you want to do contract review, okay? And you will have a different kind of agent. That agent will extract a set of key clauses. That's very common in contract review. Is there some kind of thing that puts me on the hook for enormous amount of money if something happens and it's hidden away in this contract, and I really, as a lawyer, should review that, or else I'll have very unpleasant consequences? That's the kind of legal review that's required. And of course, the AI would not be allowed to single-handedly venture its opinion, but together with the law, with the lawyer, they will come with the substantiated, and there is one throat to choke situation. So match it with not only look at that, but also look at regulatory problems that abound. There are laws, don't do this or do that. Okay, that seems like something very valuable to build, and the promise is that it will build that. And then you can, for example, do another agentic workflow where you can enrich. What do you enrich? In this case, a dull invoice. But you can go and go to the database and add item description, and you will also match what's the closest product code. That all will become real magic. What happens if I click? Okay. That all will become real magic if you simply add AI, because if not for AI, you would have to program very detailed thing about what you want. And that's boring. Today, there is AI. So you just tell it what you want. I think I told you, and I showed you how we do it, but I'll do it once again to show how real that is. Okay, we're working on form processing. Form processing is for law agencies, and what they want is, for example, extract all the information out of the what it is called, the police report. Okay, read police report and take out any indication of the race. That's the new California law. The law is official. It started being active on January 1st, and far from every county was able to implement that. So we do implement it, but what I wanted to show you is how we do it. For example, there's a prompt, an instruction to our AI to extract entities. That's how we do it. There is also a prompt to extract the narrative, that part. Oh, that doesn't show very nice, but on the other hand, that's not a well-prepared talk, and that's what is lovely about it. So let's go here. We need to read the same thing, police reports, but we need to extract exactly the personal information. Well, look at how complex that is. You tell AI this, you tell it, first of all, get the personal information, and it should look like that. Then mailing address, and it should look like that, and on and on and on, like 8 instructions. Well, this is new that you have not seen last time. And the major idea is that things are magical and things are easy with AI. You just need to know how to organize all of that. And that's what I wanted to show you when we were talking about agentic. That's the kind of agent that is smart. That's what it's doing. And you can do contract review. You can enrich the invoice. You can then build it all together. That's what we will do. And I wanted to show you here just one more right here. Okay. That's how we're going to build the workflows. We will say very simple workflow, of course, step 1, step 2. But I'll show you the code that does it. Here is how you do it. You say that's the first step and that's the next step. And then you want to see it, okay? So here you are. You can have that same software. Now, what software is that? That's Llama. Llama Index, and it allows you to build your workflow. And then what you do is you make that workflow into collection of different threads. Each thread is listening to when it is called to do the work, and it's sending its work to the next one. Okay, that is what this course is about. If you want more, you can find it right here, right? And you can find it at the learning path right here. Okay, that will be this course. And eventually, like in a few days, it will also be represented by our repository. Well, the only thing you need to do is the keys. So by now, that's the first one that I have built in the right manner. And right manner means this. In fact, I should have it open. Right. So the first thing that you do is open how to do it. Now, all of the how to do are collected at the top. They are, let's go to the top. Here we are. That's the collection of all the labs, and it has the how to. So when you're running the very first time, you open this how to run, and you go through all these steps. The steps are very similar. They are quite obvious, just built in your virtual environment and ready to run that particular lab. What is special is that you have your requirements for that particular lab, and you have the keys. Now, the keys are mentioned here. It says create.env file for all the API keys. And by collecting all of them at the top, I make it easier. So all the labs depend on all the keys, and I threw all the keys together. So that file is right here. .env. Well, the only thing that I'm not doing is show you the keys, because that would be a violation of the security, right? Then, having done that, you go into the specific lab. And in this specific lab, you run your environment. Once you have done your environment and it reads your keys, I haven't tried that as yet, by the way, you open how to run every other time. You open this file, and all it says is go and source your Python environment so that you will be in the right environment like that. And with that, open the Jupyter Notebook. I don't see how it could possibly run, but I will still try. That will be my first trial. Oh, okay, wonderful. Why? I guess I haven't finished it. That's why. It's okay. I'll do it by next time. But the end result is that we are going to build specific systems that show us explicitly how those agentic agents are organized. And I think in the complete list, in this complete list, that's the first real complete demonstration of agentic. So if we look for more agentics, we see a few more. That's the one. Then we see Microsoft. And then we should see some from Azure. This one, Bedrock. Okay, that one, this one, in my mind, is the best. So yeah, anybody who is interested into how does it really work should try and play with that lamp. All right, here we are. Greg brings a lot of interesting things. And the complete explanation of why you would use and when you will use GPT-4. Thank you, Greg. It's always wonderful. By the way, I listen to what you say and I do try things. Okay, so that is the course. That's a new course for that week. That is something that came from another person. I know who he is. I forgot his name now, but thank you very much. You remember who you are. And he showed me the OLM OCR. Seems to be a wonderful way to doing OCR, optical character recognition, and it's open source. So I went there, I tried it, I opened it, and this is what I got. Here. I was able to take my PDF. I was able to drop it there into the browser, into the upload, and that is the PDF. It still displays that PDF, and that is the text. I think it did a wonderful job extracting the text. I'm not sure if inside of that picture, if there is any text, it would do that. But at least it worked. So thank you very much. I will try it because I'm using all kinds of Azure OCR, but I'm not allowed to send every document that I'm dealing with, not allowed to send it to all kinds of different open, OpenAI, for example. Not always. So that may be very, very useful when I want to hide my documents away from the people. We want to look at that. And we also wanted, okay, I have a friend who is a programmer, but he wants to stick it into me, I would say, and tell me, you know what, your ChatGPT is not like my GPT. He uses Grok, and he says Grok is better. Okay, I asked that exactly that question. Where would Grok be better? That's what I asked, and then you remember that you can share all of your findings real easy. That's what I did, and then in the end it says, you know, it's just fun. The designers of Grok, they added humor, they added personality, they added real-time integration because that's Twitter. So it was natural. I mean, it's by the owner of Twitter. Okay. And anyway, by Elon Musk, whoever he is. Direct access to social trends coming from X. And that's what makes it fun. And I can imagine if you're just experimenting, you would like it. And if you're building something for a law enforcement agency, you would probably stay with ChatGPT just as well. That's why it could be better. All right. And that really covers it all. So if you people, if you want to ask more questions, great. I promised a few things. I promised windsurf. That's yet another development environment, IDE, Integrated Development Environment. And last time I showed you how it can program for you. What I did, I just said, create a snake game for me. Write all the code and run it. It created, it wrote, and ran it. What I need to do is I am programming my system called FREED. It's for electronic evidence discovery. And I want to scale it up. I want it to run 10 times faster than it usually runs. And then I'm increasing the speed to 100 times, and I'm integrating it with Spark. That's what I'm doing right now. So I want to load this project into this Windsurf and just try it if it will help me or no. I find that it's so much more fun and easier to program together with another human or AI or all. That's what I wanted to do, but I have not done it. That's what I wanted to do. Windsurf in our repo, that's all great, but I need to use it on my projects. In the same way, I wanted to do the Andrew Ains agentic document extraction. He advertises some amazing things where you point your camera to the shelf and say, find me all cereals of a specific brand. And it just finds it in the picture. So I need to try that too. Haven't done it as yet. All right. That's pretty much all the news. Open to the questions. And I'll fix my camera next time. But here you are. Questions, please. Okay, then we are close to being done. I'll tell you one fun story. So yesterday, a long time ago, client of mine, we haven't spoken for 15 years, but his phone was immediately recognized by my phone, and I could say, "Hi, Jeff. That's nice that you're calling after 15 years." So his problem is that he has a programming project, and whatever the stack, but his programmer is going away. So can you take it over? And I'm suggesting a much better way. You have some technical guy there. So I'll teach him how to use AI to run code and he will be good. Well, it seems like people prefer when somebody who understands a little bit of the programming and also uses AI. That would be better. So next week I will report how did it go, because he said, well, I would prefer you run this AI. You don't know that language, but that doesn't matter. You're saying that anybody can use AI to maintain my software. All right. Next time I'll tell you how it went. All right. I see, Greg. Have you worked much with Anthropic MPC Model Context Protocol? No, I personally have not, but I think that's a great question. So what I can do is put it for next week. At least that's a good question, and we should all know what that is, Model Context Protocol. Try it and bring it to you guys. All right, so everybody be well. Enjoy the rest of the week and a good weekend. But Adam asks also, Paul, thank you. I really wanted to thank you. Yes, Adam, trade notes. You have my email here, mark@AI, but I have a little bit more. When you ask this using Olama, I and my colleagues did use Olama, and the experience was positive. We used it on a virtual machine inside of Azure, but that doesn't mean anything, that it works anywhere. And what I especially like that you can switch models very easily. So your code uses Olama, which is an umbrella over the other models. N8, 9, 8, N8, N I have not tried, but we were doing exactly that, self-hosted stuff. In the end, in our case, it was okay to use OpenAI inside of government Azure. So it's easier, right? But we can trade notes to see what happened. Okay. Greg, for evaluating RAG and LLM, is Ragos your favorite? Greg, I have not heard about Ragos. So what I'm doing is I'm putting it here, but at least one thing I can share with you, and that is since I'm writing security and AI, or really AI and security, how to protect your AI from hackers. I got in touch with RSnake. RSnake is a very famous hacker, and he said he wrote a book exactly about that. So let's try AI best friend. That's the book that he wrote, just came out. I bought the book. I'm reading it tonight, and I will report you on that book. As you see, it has some very funny things, like guy asking his AI girlfriend, "Are you a jealous AI?" He calls her AGI. So, "Are you jealous AGI?" And she says, "What are you thinking about another AGI?" Well, that's what I read first try. Let me put it on our outline up. And next time I'll share my experience. Okay, not quite back here. Well, I'll give you the whole link. And that will be next time. There you are. All right. Thank you for your questions, guys, and girls, and your attention. And I see you next week. Thank you. Thank you.